This program contains material that may be disturbing to some viewers. Parental discretion is advised.
When I was a child, I even drew on my Barbie dolls. I mean, I just wanted tattoos. I thought they were cool.
You're really disempowered in your life, and the only thing you have control over is your body. So of course you can pierce it, cut it, brand it, tattoo it. So maybe that is an act of power.
It's your body. Play with it.
As soon as the fur wore off man or woman's body, they started figuring out ways to mark their body and to beautify it and to identify it.
Body modification is everywhere, from tattooing and piercing to the extremes of branding and cutting. The first known tattoo was found on the body of a 5,300-year-old Iceman, uncovered in Italy. Body art later died out in the West until it was brought back from tribal cultures by sailors and explorers. Once the mark of the deviant, body art is now the sign of the hip. Hard to ignore and sometimes hard to stomach, these are the elements that make up the human canvas. From tribal urges on the streets of Los Angeles
Creation, you know, you gotta decorate your body.
to a secret Japanese art form, to a piercing school in San Francisco. The boundaries of body art are pushed further every day.
I don't think there's a culture anywhere on Earth that does not engage in some sort of body decoration.
Chuck Eldridge is a San Francisco-based tattoo historian and artist who has uncovered the rich history of tattooing worldwide. His tattoo archive is like the Hall of Fame of tattooing.
This is Cap Coleman. He spent his whole career in Norfolk, Virginia, which was a major seaport town. Coleman was able to tattoo seamen from all over the world. His work got a lot of circulation because of the amount of sailors that he tattooed. Sailors kind of reawoke the interest in tattooing. Sailors travel around the world. They're always looking for novel souvenirs and collectors, things to send home to their family or to take home themselves. So the tattoo became like the kind of the ultimate souvenir from the South Pacific.
Sailors as early as Captain Cook in the 1770s explored the South Pacific and discovered natives with body tattoos. Among those they encountered were the Maori of New Zealand. For the Maori, a facial tattoo was the mark of a great warrior that served to intimidate the enemy in battle. The markings were so distinct that tribal chiefs used their moko, or facial tattoos, as their signature on treaties.
Their tattooing was pretty severe. They would do the tattooing basically with the same tools that they would do their carving with. So they would chisel the skin away. Then they would rub pigment into these trenches, and that would dye the trench. So then the tattoo would be clear and readable.
Tribal tattoos are the rage in America, with bold black work decorating America's youth. Skitch just happened to take it one step further, creating a tribe of his own in Minneapolis.
Oh my God! Oh my God! Oh my God!
Stretch it out.
You're gonna have your face like that forever in life?
Forever. Forever.
Well, what are you gonna do with this?
Oh, I'm gonna enjoy it. I'm not gonna add more.
You know what I have to
Nah, I'm sketchy. I don't even think about it anymore. I don't realize I have a tattoo that much anymore, you know, on the face. It's like, it's such a part of my life now that people are going to look. Don't even realize it too much until people come up and grab and, whoa, you know, what is that? You know, let me check you out. A lot of people, unlike yourself, can't look past all this and look eye to eye, you know, and communicate, you know.
It's hard to concentrate.
Right, but I mean, at that point, I don't really need to talk to those people either.
Do you like go to the hospital and get Lanacane or something?
No, not at all. I mean, it only hurts for a second, and no pain for the rest of your life. It's a given that it's 24/7 harassment.
Skitch is a tattoo artist in Minneapolis. He co-owns a shop where they design unique pieces for each customer. Skitch also tattoos himself.
Well, as a years I've thought, you know, I've always wanted to, you know, to stand out a little bit, not as an attention thing, but more just to kind of break the binds of the stereotypical society of today. Oh, yeah.
Although Skitch had already tattooed his body, he was 21 before he started tattooing his face.
For about 7 years now, I've been tattooing the face. A friend of mine started out, helped me do the bottom, and they were just really small. And from there, I did these 3. Then a year later, about 2 years later, and then the next year, I extended these out, did some more on my chin. And then the year after that, I extended some more up here, started going on my head. No, I didn't really know of any kind of taboo. I knew that I didn't see too many people, let alone with tattoos at that time, but with tattoos on their face.
I won't do anything on the hands, face, or neck, just because I kind of feel that that tattoo might get in that person's way somewhere down the road, and I really don't want to be part of that or responsible for that.
I didn't really know it was such a big deal to the tattoo community, which I thought I'd get more accepted than anything. And I got more flack. Maybe that was just a personal thing. They want to be able to put a suit on and cover it up. I like to show it off. The best natural drug you could ever imagine.
Skitch isn't alone in this urge to defy convention. He and his friends are part of a modern-day tribe, drawn together by their stark brand of tattooing.
People would consider us some sort of this new American culture tribe thing. Meeting up with different people around the country, of course we're going to draw to each other. Having facial tattoos, we can pretty much relate on a lot of different issues. So, I mean, in that sense, you could consider it a tribe. This party, the people that are here, I probably tattooed a good 75–85% of them.
My chin this here is a fertility symbol, and the dots I've seen before and always thought were really beautiful.
Skitch's band, Apocalypse Theater, provides the soundtrack for this unconventional scene.
We did these first, and then we added to them and added that one last. So I wasn't satisfied. We upgraded.
The group also modifies bikes, but it's the facial tattoos that remain their most outrageous statement of individuality.
You know, when tattooing somebody else's face, though, it's got to be a definite connection, you know. It's kind of like, I hope this is a good positive thing for this person forever. Otherwise, I've really screwed their life up. I've known Angelica for a few years, and we've got to party together, hang out. We started a pattern down her face, down to her waist right now, going to her toe. And it was basically, go ahead and do what you feel would work with me. And came out with a beautiful piece, you know, that she really likes.
When I was a child, I even drew on my Barbie dolls. I mean, I just wanted tattoos. I thought they were cool.
Angelica Velez got her first tattoo 11 years ago, but it was only in the last year that she started getting her face tattooed.
Well, it's just a pretty standard tattoo machine. It's been used, the same model for the last 80–90 years. And I've got a grouping of 7 needles right now to make a pretty bold line. Basically, it's the same amount that we started out with. initially when we started her face. I'm going to go ahead now.
God, I wanted to do it for so long because, like, I remember seeing, like, Tattoo Mike in Coney Island, and I thought that was so cool. But, like, Maoris of North Island, New Zealand, and it's like, wow, that is just so awesome. I would love to get my face tattooed. But unfortunately, like, in this society, you're kind of afraid, like, am I going to be able to get a job and whatever? So I told myself, you know, I'd wait till I was 30 just because, you know, by then you'll have things, you know, more or less kind of figured out somewhat. Wow, this does look really cool. I like that. Just force your head somewhere else to, like, not feel it so intensely. It's like a sustained bee sting just over and over. And it's kind of like potato chips. You can't just have one.
This TLC program is sponsored in part by Honda, fine quality automobiles, motorcycles, and power equipment.
You can express your opinion about the environment on your car, or you can do it with your car. Introducing America's first gasoline-electric hybrid, the Insight from Honda. The most fuel-efficient car in the world.
Welcome to Petopia, a pet paradise, overflowing with food, toys, advice, and love. Everything they want delivered to your door. Petopia.com, the internet pet paradise.
You know, there's a really big difference between seeing the world and watching it on TV. Get out there. Royal Caribbean.
I'm a quarter Italian, I'm a quarter Portuguese, I'm an eighth Spanish. Hey, Eddie. I'm a MetLife rep here in Brooklyn, financial professional. MetLife's been in Brooklyn since before the bridge. That must have 401k. Exactly. We helped finance the Empire State Building.
Good morning.
Started the Immigrant Service Bureau. Wherever you came from, we helped you become an American. That's MetLife. This mutual fund here, we're one big human family. So you love the differences.
Strap in for the TLC 500 next weekend on TLC.
Fast-driving, life-saving, rubber-gloved superstars.
Let's save some lives.
The New Orleans Health EMS.
Let me get a texture.
Check out TLC for paramedics, filmed right here in New Orleans.
Come on. You do your job that you have to do.
It's big city emergencies handled by big easy heroes. And you never know what's going to happen when they get down to business. Paramedics, Monday at 8 on TLC.
It's better channels, digital picture, and CD quality sound. Plus a new, easy-to-use on-screen guide with on-channel banners that tell you what you're watching now and 7 days of program listings that help you plan your future. All this without missing a moment and no expensive equipment to buy. From the leader in entertainment comes the latest in entertainment technology.
Digital.
Digital cable from Time Warner. Welcome to what's next.
War heroes get medals. Sports heroes get trophies. But what do you get if you're just a woman who moves mountains, inspires tomorrow's leaders, and holds the weight of the world on your shoulders? How about the trip of a lifetime? We're sending one lucky winner and guest to a world-famous spa in Orlando for 2 days and 3 nights. Choose your favorite package. Be your own hero. Here's how to enter.
Register to win at Edward Jones Investments. For quality investments and personal service, stop by or call Susan McCormick at 844-5252.
Lyle Tuttle is one of the best-known tattoo artists in the country. From his shop in San Francisco, he revolutionized tattooing and brought it into the mainstream.
I've been tattooing for over 50 years, and you tattoo people from all walks of life. I've tattooed from bank presidents to bank robbers. Tattoos aren't meant for everybody. In fact, they're too good for a lot of people.
Tattoos weren't always given such respect. Tuttle is fully aware of their history on the fringes of society.
Tattoos became connected with the sideshow when they really caused a big stir in England, and they seen the marketability of tattooed people. And so they started using tattooed people in circuses, in carnival sideshows.
Tattooed women were the biggest draw of all.
These tattooed women that people paid money to go see were all married to tattoo artists. They were the billboards for their husband's career, and they made a little money on the side too, displaying their bodies. It became a whole subculture of itself, a subgroup.
The attraction of the women in the sideshow had a lot to do with sex. Sex sells, even in the 1800s, sex sells. So that would be a big part of the draw. And women attractions were often paid more than men.
As sideshows lost popularity, so did tattooing. The only practitioners were society's other outcasts.
It became pushed to the outskirts, so only, like Lyle Tuttle said, criminals and prostitutes kept tattooing alive in America for a long time.
I believe that the one feature that has caused tattooing to be as popular as it is today is women's liberation. Because in the late 60s, 50% of the human race was opened up to tattooing. You know, ladies curl their hair, they paint their toenails, modify everything in between, and so why wouldn't tattooing be ideal for them? Ladies put me on the map.
Tuttle established his reputation as the #1 tattooer of the 60s. He caught the eye of Janis Joplin, and she asked him to tattoo a small heart on her chest and a floral bracelet on her wrist. Joplin flaunted society's notion of women and beauty, and it became a trend.
So this is the original. Right. This is what I came up with for the original, and then we needed to change it. What's happening now, this last 20 years or so, is part of the women's lib movement, too.
Today, tattooing surfaces on the unlikeliest of bodies.
Than too blue. Looks like from here. I come from a family of lawyers. It's not the right kind of environment for getting tattoos. Women didn't get tattoos. Nobody got tattooed.
And teal.
Yeah, that's a pretty color.
Oh, I've been a professional artist my whole life, painter mostly. And I was in graduate school when I walked into a bookstore and saw this coffee table book on tattooing. And the artist in me was just absolutely blown away. I had never seen line work in color, and I just knew I needed to do this. This is really cool stuff. So I found someone to teach me the technique. The machines are really rudimentary. They haven't changed since they first made them much in the last century. Okay, are you ready, Elizabeth?
I'm ready.
Okay.
As ready as I'm going to be.
It's opened up a whole new idea for women of beauty in their body and what they choose to be beautiful.
For both women and men, tattoos are the ultimate souvenirs of a lifetime.
When I went to Samoa down there to visit the Samoan people, this race of people that all love tattoos, I went ahead and had them tattoo me. I was tattooed for memories because my tattoos are smaller and they were put on by many different tattoo artists in many different places, and they're to me they're travel marks. They're like my scrapbook.
But in Japan, the whole concept behind tattooing is different.
The Japanese idea of tattooing is they'll pick out a story, and they have that story all over their body.
Irizumi, which literally means insertion of ink, flourished in Japan in the 17th century.
That bodysuit idea evolved out of a ban that happened in Japan. They outlawed fancy clothing for commoners. So the commoners would get these elaborate bodysuits, and they would have these bodysuits underneath their plain kimonos. And It was an act of rebellion.
In 1869, the Japanese were so concerned about seeming uncivilized to Western foreigners, they outlawed tattooing. But Westerners were so fascinated by Irizumi, they sought out the illegal art form. The government relented and allowed tattooing to resume for foreigners only. Though powerful visitors like King George V of England and Tsar Nicholas II of Russia were tattooed in the Japanese style, the tradition remained shrouded in secrecy for the native people. These days, modern tattooing is everywhere on the streets of Tokyo, but the ancient art of Irizumi remains underground. Horiyoshi III of Yokohama is the third in a line of prominent tattoo masters. He does not advertise. He is listed in no telephone book. His fame rests on word of mouth and the skills and secrets passed down from his teacher, Tattoo Master Horiyoshi I.
I had already started to tattoo, but I was having problems. I knew Horiyoshi I because he'd done my bodysuit and had a wonderful reputation for shading. So I persuaded him to take me on as an apprentice.
There's intense competition between Irizumi masters. There's always a concern another master may steal a secret color, or pattern, or needle technique. Once you're associated with one tattoo master, you'll never be seen by another. Horiyoshi III is working on a full bodysuit for this client. The practice will take at least 3 years and will cost thousands of dollars to complete.
The way they approach tattooing is it's almost 180 degrees away from what Western people, how they approach it. The American-European approach tattoos as kind of a one-off, kind of small design on a prominent part of the body that they can show and generally cover if they need to. The Japanese, before they ever start any of their tattoo, the whole thing is designed. And it's one major image on their back, and then it's all tied together, it's all related together. There's a whole story involved in this.
The tattoos are traditionally worn by the working class, firefighters, construction workers, and at times, members of the Japanese Yakuza, or organized crime families. This man is a construction worker. His tattoos celebrate Japanese gods and can mean anything from mercy to strength to good fortune. Changes in Japan have opened up tattooing to new people. Naomi is a telemarketer. She is one of Horiyoshi III's latest clients. Although she finds that most people are tolerant of her tattoos, occasionally she comes across prejudice. She remains one of the few women in Japan to be tattooed by an Irizumi master.
In my company, I have to wear long sleeves like that, yeah, and I don't have that much tattooed woman friends, just a few. And I haven't seen that women have whole body tattooed in Japan, not that much. So I think that's unusual.
Tattoos are endured for a variety of reasons: to entice good fortune, repel sickness, display rank or status, or simply for vanity. For her back, Naomi selected a goddess riding a dragon, an image that symbolizes mercy. Despite all the changes in modern Japan, Horiyoshi III is determined the Irizumi tradition will survive. He is grooming his son to become Horiyoshi IV.
Buy a certified pre-owned Lexus with a 3-year, 100,000-mile warranty.
Mike, it's 3 a.m. What are you doing out there?
You won't believe you actually own one. Surprisingly affordable. Only at your Lexus dealer.
When I give my girlfriend a gift, I try to think like her. And since I know she's thinking of me, I just buy her something I want. Like a dune buggy.
Dudley, get the paper.
A clean, crisp newspaper delivered to your printer automatically.
Introducing new Castrol Super Clean Tire Gloss. It's specially formulated to give tires a brilliant shine. New Castrol Super Clean Tire Gloss. Shinier longer than all leading brands.
If you'd like your organization to become more adept at handling change, Anderson Consulting can help you integrate all the parts. Because in the electronic economy, the organization that performs together transforms together.
Tuesday on DLC, Controlled Chaos. Some very bad news. And a happy ending for one little girl.
She's stabilized.
Trauma. Life in the ER. Tuesday at 8 on TLC.
Under the rule of the Roman Empire, the amphitheater was a stage for games of life and death. Now it's the setting for a big summer hit. TLC takes you behind the scenes of a blockbuster and reveals the true heroic life of a gladiator. Friday at 9 on TLC.
Next weekend, strap in for the TLC 500. Racing excitement, bumper to bumper behind the scenes, the TLC 500.
What we know is so much smaller. Than what we don't know. The most interesting channels on television have come together to create the ultimate body of knowledge, from exotic facts to information you can use every day. Discovery.com.
In South Central Los Angeles, gang tattoos can often be a matter of life and death.
I work one of the gang enforcement teams specifically assigned to work the Florencia 13 gang, and it's a large Hispanic street gang in the South Central Los Angeles area. When they're walking down the street, they got their shirt off. There's no question what gang this guy's part of because it's all over their body.
Pee-wee is a member of the Florencia 13 gang, whose nephew was murdered recently.
About my nephew from the tattoo, I cannot talk about him because, you know, I ain't no snitch or nothing, you know, but he just got stabbed 24 times. He was my age, and that's the worst death that has hurted me. All the other tattoos, I got them because, you know, because I feel proud of them. That's why I got this one in my back. I got that because I'm always walking down Florence with my shirt off, and I don't care if the enemy see me and shoot me through the back. Whatever's going to happen is going to happen. You cannot run from this. Whenever it comes, it's going to come. But I hope, because I'm afraid to get shot in my back and get paralyzed. I'd rather get killed. I just hope whenever they kill me, I want to see my killer's face, you know? But, you know, I hope I have my eyes fixed so I could be stabbing them too.
Since 1990, there have been over 6,000 gang-related homicides in South Central Los Angeles. The Optimist Youth Homes is a center where juvenile offenders go to get out of gangs and mend their ways. Alejandro Sanchez has a history of car theft, drug abuse, and gang-related crime. His tattoos are a permanent reminder of his gang-banging lifestyle.
I have a picture of a Daffy Duck up here. That would just remind me of one of my friends that had passed away. He got shot in the head. He was walking home late one night, drunk, and one of the rival gang members just came and shot him because he was alone. I had a lot of times that I was close to death, but I got away. When I was 11, I got my first tattoo and started doing drugs and drinking a lot. The first tattoo I got was my 3 dots. That's mi vida loca, my crazy life. I started getting my first gang tattoo. It said SUR13 for Southern United Raza. I have a B for brown and the P's over here for the pride, brown pride. And I have IE for Indian Empire where I live at. I did them all by myself with a needle and ink. Almost everybody I know does have a tattoo, and the reason I do it is to show that they're down for the gang. Most of the people that I know, they try to get it to look cool.
Criminals, bikers, and sailors are the 3 most traditional groups associated with tattooing. I think it was always a mark of an outsider. And I think that's what drew those people to it, is that they were outsiders and this appealed to them.
In tribal cultures, body art was the mark of the insider. Like a military uniform, tribesmen could recognize each other from a distance by their matching tattoos and other body modifications. Scarification, tattooing and piercing also signified bravery. The more pain you could endure, the more you were respected. Not much changed when tattooing resurfaced in America. Rough and tumble tattoo shops lined the streets in seaport towns. Here, sailors and criminals acquired their painful and permanent souvenirs. The art form also found a home in prisons.
In prisons, certainly in America, there's a lot of tattooing that's going on. You know, you've got a captive audience there with too much time on their hands, and so they start tattooing. It's surprising the number of gangsters and criminals that actually are tattooed.
And back in Los Angeles, street gangs have unfortunately continued the tradition.
I just look back and realize in my past that I don't want to end up the rest of my life either in prison or somewhere worse. I just want to stay with my family and change my whole life around before I die. I want to live my life.
To help Alejandro make that change, he's visiting Beverly Hills, where Dr. Frank Ryan, a plastic surgeon, gives up his time to remove tattoos from gang members and ex-convicts.
Okay, here we go. We'll start with dirty deeds. The bulk of my practice is usually facelifts on women from Beverly Hills or breast augmentation on young actresses, etc. So it's kind of a night and day contrast on a typical day here. On a day like today, for example, where we're treating plenty of ex-gang members versus this morning where I performed breast augmentation on a young model.
Ex-con Chris Oakes came out of prison 6 months ago. In that harsh world of racism and violence, the tattoos are even more extreme than on the streets of South Central.
We did one treatment. There's significant, about 50% fade. You can.
Chris has a tattoo that's not only highly visible, but highly objectionable to just about everyone. So I think he realizes the importance of getting that tattoo off ASAP.
I have a portrait of Hitler on the whole back of my head. I have white power across the front of my head in letters. I got him to belong to a skinhead organization, a white supremacist group. I probably know 40% of the people in prison because I've been there so many times. And they know that I have these tattoos on my arms. I go back without tattoos on my arms, they'll kill me.
You essentially step on a foot pedal. The laser beam then shoots into the tattoo, and that color absorbs the laser beam. The ink then explodes into billions of tiny pieces from the impact of the laser beam. Then the body can digest that ink and get rid of it.
I don't want to be in prison no more. I want to be free. There's so much more to live for out here than there is in there. My parole officer didn't even know of anybody that did tattoo removal. When he found out that I knew about this place, he wanted all the information about it because he can't find no place to do it.
Gang tattoos show affiliation and loyalty. To remove them is to disrespect the gang. Despite the risk of violence from his gang associates, Alejandro has decided to follow through with the tattoo removal.
There we go. Don't watch here. I'm going to do feel zaps over here, okay? And it's kind of interesting. They can be the toughest kid on the block, but when it comes to singing needle, they are just kids.
The needle is the part that you sort of feel the pain, that's it.
Here we go. I think the tattoo removal plays a significant role. The kid has the wrong tattoo in the wrong neighborhood that potentially is a lethal combination. And secondly, in terms of future employment, if the kids go on, they realize that tattoos, especially in highly visible areas like the face, neck, hands, arms, could be a potential factor in them not getting a job. All right. It's almost done. All right. That's it. All right. You did great. Good job.
The removal of tattoos by laser is a long and painful process. It will take at least 2 more sessions with Dr. Ryan before Alejandro's tattoos finally disappear.
There's a car out there people are talking about.
This is a bold move for Cadillac.
It's the only car in its class with the executive assistance of OnStar standard.
OnStar.
What is this boldly restyled car that's making the press take notice? It's the 2000 Catera. And now, you can get a Catera with a very attractive lease. Call for important lease details. The 2000 Catera, the power of and, the fusion of design and technology. Cadillac.
Sign here? Sorry, I only have a minute. In so many ways, in so many places, it keeps a million disasters a day from happening. It's like having a life insurance policy you never knew you had. Gotta go. It's plastics. There's my good girl. Plastics make it possible.
America still has a frontier. San Francisco. Pretty amazing place. Especially for a MetLife financial professional.
So you recommend mutual funds?
I do. It's a great way to save. When America moved west, MetLife invested in railroads, telephone, and electric lines. We helped connect the country. That's MetLife. Pull a 401k up on the screen. I work with people who work in the future. If it's going to happen here first.
Hi, I'm Tammy. What do you look like?
I'll take it.
Me too.
Scams, hoaxes, and lies fool the unwary. Obviously, some part of us desperately wants to believe in mumbo-jumbo. Why? Unmasked. Secrets of Deception. Coming up next on TLC.
Time Warner has a career opportunity waiting for you. One of our entry-level positions is cable TV installer. You need a high school education and a valid driver's license, and be able to work outdoors year-round, climb utility poles, and work in confined spaces such as attics and under houses. We offer competitive wages, an excellent benefits package, plus a chance for career advancement. If this job sounds like you, watch for our openings in the classified ads on Sunday. Follow the instructions to apply.
War heroes get medals. Sports heroes get trophies. But what do you get if you're just a woman who moves mountains, inspires tomorrow's leaders, and holds the weight of the world on your shoulders? How about the trip of a lifetime? We're sending one lucky winner and guest to a world-famous spa in Orlando for 2 days and 3 nights. Choose your favorite package. Be your own hero. Here's how to enter.
Register to win at Edward Jones Investments. For quality investments and personal service, stop by or call Susan McCormick at 844-5252.
Just as the tattoo has enjoyed a boom in recent years, body piercing has risen in popularity. But in the 1970s, Fakir Musafar was one of only 7 people in the country experimenting with homegrown piercing. Times have changed. Fakir now runs a state-licensed piercing school in San Francisco.
We're going to teach you 24 piercings. And you'll see after we go through our fundamentals how we handle tools, how we go about a procedure, how we go through a technique. You'll see it 24, 30, or 40 times before we turn you loose to see what you do.
Fakir Musafar, formerly an advertising executive, is considered by many to be the father of the modern primitive movement. Fakir has been fascinated by tribal practices ever since his childhood in the 30s and 40s.
I was looking at pictures in National Geographic, so I started to emulate what they did. I copied the Ibitos of New Guinea. I saw a New Guinea boy with a small, tight belt around his waist. I had to wear a small, tight belt around my waist. I knew what it was like. I knew what it felt like. I knew why they were doing it. I knew all about it by getting into the consciousness of the person in the image.
Fakir coined the term modern primitivism in 1967. It describes a non-tribal person who responds to primal urges and transforms the body. While it may appear painful, it's the pain that allows them to experience a higher state of being.
Our culture is the comfort-seeking culture, and they don't understand the value and the power of discomfort. Realize that it's through these states of physical discomfort that one can transcend those feelings and transcend body and lift yourself up into other states of consciousness where you can experience a greater reality. What you see on the surface may look like awful, uncomfortable, mutilation, whoa, terrible stuff. What's really going on is people are going into states of ecstasy and bliss.
Burying the cavity is a ritual performed by ordinary people in India every year. It's an excruciating trial by spears. Through an altered state brought on by extreme pain, practitioners hope to commune with a higher being.
I always wanted to bear the cavity. When you're imprisoned in this large cage, you dance around in it to ecstasy. I always wanted to do that, and I had a wonderful, fantastic experience.
The Sundance and Okipa rituals are ancient Native American practices involving hanging from flesh hooks. Young men perform this rite of passage before becoming warriors, and tribal chiefs use the ritual to commune with spirits. Fakir Musafar wanted to do the same.
So finally I just screwed up my courage. It's like jumping off of a cliff or something. I just stepped off, swung free, and whoa, something happened. Within 2 or 3 seconds, my body was floating upward. I looked up and I saw this great white light above me. It was the most marvelous thing. I didn't want to come back and live in a body down here anymore. I said, no, you have some work to do. You got to go back down there. If you come in here, you can't go back. You're dead. And I said, well, okay. And I struggled and came back down into my body and they let me down.
Fakir's extreme piercing experience was so uplifting, he decided to pass that knowledge on.
In general, here's the story. If it protrudes, pierce it. If it doesn't, don't. All right, now this is the critical part. You may have to mark and remark nipples 2 or 3 times.
Every other month, 10 students come from around the world and pay $1,000 each to be taught by one of the fathers of extreme piercing.
Are we ready? All right, here's what we always do. I'll do a simultaneous piercing here. See his heartbeat. He's very nervous. Okay. Nice deep breath. There's a boy. Ready, set, and pierce. We were very fortunate with Shako. He was really wanting to do this, and he kind of like went into a small trance there, which is good. I like doing that. Thank you.
Don't be afraid to kind of take a navel and keep it up like that.
After days of listening to lectures and watching demonstrations, the students are ready to pierce.
Each one will mark one of the nipples. I'll be guiding them. They're very small, so this is going to be a little bit tricky to do. We want to just pierce the nipple. We don't want to go into the areola, and it's going to be a little tough.
I had done the advanced piercing workshop. This is my first time with the real beginners, and you just got to remember to breathe and just try to be calm. It's intense.
It's a little bit more traumatic than I was thinking it would be.
Another deep breath. Now when you get up there, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it, hold it. That's it. You've just been pierced. So we're going to wrap up here in about a half an hour. We'll be all finished and setting up for our ritual. Today we're going to have 4 people, and we're going to do this almost simultaneously. We've never tried this before. We usually have 1 table with 1 person. We're going to have 3 tables with 4 people laying on them in every which direction, and 4 piercers. I'm going to go pierce, 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 pierce. The piercers can get the piercees now in the position they need to be in for the piercing. The instructors will be doing the piercings on students for the ritual, and we'll try to raise energy and focus the energy. So you're going to get an exclusive here. We've never tried doing a ritual, 4 people, bang, 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 bang. It'll be interesting. We don't know how it's going to work either. I think they're going to sit in class and write notes and have a school program, but there's more to it. It's more intimate. It's more personal. It's deeper. We get into deeper stuff. Congratulations. You have graduated from high school.
Good job. Good job.
I know.
Take care. Feels awesome. I can't wait to get back and start sticking holes in people.
This TLC program is sponsored in part by E-Trade, the #1 place to invest online.
Oh, one more thing. Do I get 4% interest on my checking account?
Hold on 1 second. I'm sorry. What was your question again?
Will I get 4% on my checking account? I'm serious, will I? That is a legitimate banking question.
It's time for E-Trade Bank, the #1 place to bank online.
I am not an electrician. I am not a decorator. I am not a mover. I'm a home buyer. And I could use some help.
Coldwell Banker has a time-saving service for home buyers and sellers. Coldwell Banker Concierge, now found on ColdwellBanker.com, is designed to help you take care of the details of moving.
Landscaper. I'm not a painter. And I'm going to be okay.
ColdwellBanker.com. When you need an address, try ours.
Are you a hardcore driver? Do you want an exciting car that's built tough? This is the Pontiac Grand Am. It's as hardcore as they come because it's the only car built with solid form design. Are you a hardcore driver? Grand Am by Pontiac.
Is finding the right computer keeping you up? You could get this one, but does it include internet service? Nope. Or you could go with this one, but does it offer 24/7 tech support or a free color printer? No. Or you could go with a Gateway Select PC and get a year of AOL included, 24/7 tech support, and a free Canon printer, all for just $1,299. That should make you rest easy. Call 1-800-GATEWAY.
Scams, hoaxes, and lies fool the unwary. Obviously, some part of us desperately wants to believe in mumbo-jumbo. Why? Unmasked. Secrets of Deception. Coming up next on TLC.
Fast-driving, life-saving, rubber-gloved superstars.
That saves some lives.
The New Orleans Health EMS.
Let me get a temperature.
Check out TLC for paramedics, filmed right here in New Orleans.
Come on. You do your job that you have to do.
It's big city emergencies handled by big easy heroes. And you never know what's going to happen when they get down to business. Paramedics, Monday at 8 on TLC.
Tuesday on TLC, Controlled Chaos. Some very bad news. And a happy ending for one little girl.
She stabilized.
Trauma, life in the ER. Tuesday at 8 on TLC.
a city that revels in the latest trends in art, music, and fashion. It's no surprise to find its home to the latest consumer fad, piercing. College freshman Michelle has come to Sacred Tattoo to have her navel pierced.
It's like the campus of the young and the pierced. All my friends have something pierced or tattooed or something.
You just stand with your hands down at your side.
Hi, Mom. I really love you guys. Just remember that. Jesse, don't pass out on me, please. Greg's hand.
This is the forceps I'm going to be using to hold your skin. You see it's in a sealed sterilization pouch. I'm just getting position now.
Not bad.
Very nice.
I'm done. I can move now?
Yes.
Okay. That's pretty cool.
You were very good.
So it wasn't that bad? No, not at all. Okay.
Body art has been a rite of passage for women and men throughout history. For many cultures, painful rituals celebrate the onset of puberty. Stretching the earlobes over many years demonstrates patience, a quality sought after in a wife. The body can be marked by cutting or burning patterns into the flesh. The more raised the scar, the more beautiful the body adornment. And branding the skin with fire remains a controversial choice. Christine is a school teacher. Having already had multiple piercings, she's now getting branded for the second time by body artist Keith Alexander.
A little journey with her where she's gone from this little timid girl who now feels a lot stronger because of the symbols that she's chosen. Go into the piercing room, have a seat, take your shirt off.
Yeah, I feel a little tiny bit nervous, but I know it's going to go well. I know I'm in good hands.
Well, what I'm going to do right now is just a precaution that some people feel isn't necessary. I'm going to clean her skin with a little bit of betadine. What a branding is a third-degree burn. You need to treat it as a burn, but it's a fine line. Where on one hand, you definitely don't want to develop an infection. On the other hand, you do want to encourage scarring. Stand up. A lot of people think it's very brutal. They hear the word branding and cutting. They think it's a blood-filled, gory, screaming affair. It's really not. It's very gentle, it's very quick, and it's relatively painless. What I'm doing right now is just getting the placement by kind of creating a stencil as we go along. It's extremely simple. We take a nail, we heat up the end of the nail, we deliver the 6, 7, 8, 9 strikes, and that's it. You ready, Christine?
I've always had a little bit of an irrational fear about fire. I'm not sure where it comes from. So obviously the idea of getting branded was kind of hard to me mentally, at first. But then, again, I read people's experiences about it, said, well, this is something that, I really want this done. And it's the only way I could achieve it. So, I'm going to kind of face my fear about it.
This is Christine's new branding. After it heals, it will look like the constellation Orion, which she had branded on her other arm 9 months ago. Like many people, Christine discovered body modification through the internet. In cyberspace, cultures separated by thousands of miles are never more than a mouse click away, making the World Wide Web the ideal medium for charting your next, more adventurous body modification.
Come on up. This is our piercing shop. This is where we do all our body piercing, scarification, implants, everything. Everything you can imagine. All the internals. Everything that I do personally, as far as work is concerned, I get done first. I must have it done to me first before I can go and do it to anybody else. So I had the cuttings done on on me by a good friend of mine.
This modern take on an ancient practice of scarification involves using a scalpel to make incisions which permanently scar the skin.
Implants is the next step up. Kind of like eating the same food day after day. You can only do so many body piercings. You can only burn yourself so many times. You can only cut yourself so many times before you are not as interested as you were. It's just, it's another level. It takes it to another level. It's a whole new idea of body modification.
As tattooing and piercing lose their shock value, thrill seekers find a new frontier beneath the skin.
As you can see, it's done with an incision on top. You make a really small incision. Into the incision is inserted a medical probe. You make a pocket underneath the skin, between the muscle and the skin. Once the pocket is emptied out, the beads are placed in. The incision is either taped or stitched closed. And there's one incision for each area of jewelry that's inserted. Depending on the process, depending on how much jewelry goes in and whatnot, determines how it's actually done.
Body modification is practiced by all sorts of people. Some like to keep their body art private.
I work for a major retail company in the New York metro area. It's a fairly conservative company.
And some like to flaunt their uniqueness. Eric Sprague is a performance artist who's using a combination of tattooing, piercing, cuttings, body implants, and cosmetic dentistry to reflect his passion for reptiles.
My tongue is bifurcated. It was done surgically with an argon laser and a pattern of sutures along the interior afterwards. It was just a long desire and fascination with sort of snakes and some lizards. My teeth were filed by a cosmetic dentist using a drill. It goes along with the aesthetic and the reptilian transformation.
Tattoos and piercings that once shocked no longer draw crowds. Body modifiers like Eric and other modern sideshow performers are pushing the limits of taste. Like the freak show and past circus acts, these performers are using body modification to shock and entertain crowds around the country. So is the new tribalism merely a form of thrill-seeking or something more meaningful?
People are rediscovering that life is not worth living unless you include the body as part of it.
As these stomach-churning rituals and performances move toward the mainstream, the future is ever more difficult to predict.
The future of body modification is surgeons realizing that it's no different taking a cheek implant and putting it in your forehead. So when a real Klingon fan comes to you and he wants to have those ridges, the surgeons are going to be a little more likely to do it.
People, are always going to find different ways to be different. So I don't think there's any limits on what people are going to try and do to their body to stand themselves out.
For others, the future of body art is less certain.
The current popularity of tattooing has its upsides and its downsides. The upsides, of course, if you're a businessman, you're staying busy. The downside is anytime something becomes trendy that's as permanent as tattooing, there's danger of a backlash or of a knee-jerk reaction to this farther down the road.
In the ancient tradition of body art, one thing is certain. When you go to get your first piercing or your first tattoo, there's a strong possibility that it won't be your last.
Scams, hoaxes, and lies fool the unwary. Obviously, some part of us desperately wants to believe in mumbo-jumbo. Why? Unmasked. Secrets of Deception. Coming up next on TLC.
Next weekend, strap in for the TLC 500. We drop the hammer on 2 nights of bumper rubbing, rubber melting, hard driving, bug in the windshield speed. If it's got 4 wheels and goes, we're gonna ride it. Next weekend on the TLC 500.